As you lie in bed at 3 a.m., your thoughts drift back to conversations from 2009, pondering whether someone's assurance actually indicated the opposite. Does this resonate with you? Here's a truth often overlooked. You are not an overthinker. Rather, you are an individual who hasn't been shown how to think effectively. This isn't a deficiency in character, it's simply a lack of skills. Education provided you with knowledge, information, dates, equations, but it fell short of teaching you how to engage with your own thought processes. It's akin to receiving a state-of-the-art computer without any instructions and facing blame for being unable to silence the alerts. We tend to label ourselves as overthinkers, as if it's an unchangeable aspect like having dark eyes or being left-handed. However, overthinking does not define your identity. It is merely your brain trying to make sense of things without adequate tools. The good news is that you can acquire these necessary tools right now. You aren't flawed, you're simply lacking training. Consider this. After 12 years of schooling, not one class focused on managing thoughts was offered. We can tackle mathematical problems, yet we struggle to understand why we revisit dialogues repeatedly. It's rather amusing, isn't it? They teach calculus but overlook strategies for mental tranquility. Let's explore Chapter 1, titled The Metacognitive Gap. Metacognition refers to the practice of reflecting on one's own thought processes and is the crucial skill you were never taught, and it's the piece you've been searching for. Each day, about 35,000 automatic thoughts run through your mind, yet you haven't learned to observe these thoughts, to step back and watch them unfold. Picture your thoughts as vehicles on a highway. Right now, you're caught in the midst of traffic, being buffeted by every car. Metacognition enables you to construct an overpass, allowing you to observe the traffic without being in the midst of it. You're not halting the cars, you're merely shifting your viewpoint. Here's a practical tool you can use, the notice and name technique. Recognize when you're spiraling out of control. Identify what you're experiencing, whether it's exaggerating outcomes or getting stuck in a loop of recollection. Then determine your response. This isn't about naive positivity, it's about cognitive structure. Your mind has been operating on autopilot, and you're just beginning to learn how to take the wheel. It's comparable to discovering you've been driving with the brakes engaged for years. It's no wonder everything seemed more challenging than necessary. Once you realize this, it becomes impossible to ignore. Now, let's move on to Chapter 2, Default Mode Mechanics. Your brain operates in two primary states, focused attention and what's scientifically termed the default mode network. This network acts as your mental screensaver, switching on when you're not concentrating consciously. And do you know what it loves to do? It likes to engage in time travel, dwelling on past mistakes or fretting about future uncertainties, anything besides being present. The default mode network is not inherently negative. It's the realm where creativity blossoms and insights come to light. However, without understanding it, you risk becoming a mere passenger instead of navigating through it. Do you recall those moments when you attempt to unwind, but your mind overwhelms you with a slideshow of every single detail? Biggest mistake you could make. That's your brain's default network with no limits. Here's the interesting part. Meditation doesn't focus on clearing your mind. It's about becoming aware when you're in default mode and opting to change it. The 2-4-8 breathing method involves inhaling for 2 counts, holding for 4, and exhaling for 8. This technique effectively instructs your nervous system to switch networks. Imagine it as hitting the Alt tab for your awareness. We often expect our minds to know how to be calm automatically, similar to how one might expect their body to perform backflips without practice. Skills, including those related to thought, require development. Chapter 3. Management of Cognitive Load. You possess a limited capacity for mental processing. Cognitive load is a real phenomenon. Your brain has a finite amount of power, and exceeding that capacity can lead to breakdowns. This isn't a sign of weakness, it's a fundamental rule of nature. Picture your mind as computer RAM. If too many applications are open, everything slows down. That feeling of decision fatigue signals your cognitive load being overwhelmed. This is why Steve Jobs opted to wear the same outfit consistently. It wasn't because he was eccentric, but because he understood the concept of cognitive economics. The answer lies not in trying to enhance your RAM, but in better management of your tasks. Group similar decisions together. Establish routines that function automatically. create what psychologists refer to as implementation intentions, which are pre-planned responses to various scenarios. For instance, if it's Sunday evening, I prepare for Monday. If someone requests an immediate decision, I reply, "Let me check and get back to you." It's amusing how we criticize ourselves for mental fatigue while simultaneously juggling numerous mental tasks, endlessly scrolling and wondering whether we've locked the door. That's like blaming yourself for sweating during a marathon. Chapter 4. Resetting your relationship with thoughts. Here's an uncomfortable truth that few acknowledge. Stopping your thoughts is impossible. Trying to halt thinking is like attempting to prevent waves in the sea. The more you resist, the more difficult it becomes. However, you can alter your relationship with your thoughts. Thoughts are simply like weather patterns in your mind, varying from sunny skies to storms. You can't control the weather, but you can decide whether to go outside, grab an umbrella, or remain indoors. Your thoughts are akin to visitors. You're not obligated to grant them permanent residency. They can flow through without making a home. The technique to employ here is cognitive diffusion. Instead of saying, "I'm a failure," reframe it to, "I'm experiencing the thought that I'm a failure." It may seem trivial, but it is highly effective. It creates a gap between you and the thought. You aren't defined by your thoughts, just as you aren't defined by the music your neighbor plays. We've been led to believe that controlling our thoughts signifies mental strength, which is similar to thinking that holding your breath equates to respiratory fitness. True strength lies in how you navigate those thoughts. Chapter 5. Designing Focus and Attention. Your attention acts less like a spotlight and more like a zoom lens. You have the ability to modify both the direction and the breadth of your focus. A broader view captures more, while a narrow focus emphasizes details. Yet no one has taught you how to adjust this lens, leaving you to navigate without guidance. Fixed on a single setting, typically zooming in too closely on issues. Selective attention can be developed as a skill. You're always engaged in filtering information. At this moment, you weren't conscious of your tongue in your mouth until I brought it up. You determine what is significant. Without training, however, anxiety can take over this process, making everything seem urgent and relevant. Enhance your attention flexibility by using the 5-4-3-2-1 technique. Identify 5 things you see, 4 sounds you hear, 3 things you can touch, 2 odors you detect, and 1 flavor you experience. This technique helps recalibrate your focus, shifting your awareness from internal thoughts to external world. It's a way of reminding yourself the present moment matters too. Isn't it amusing? Our smartphones have more advanced focus modes than our minds do. Your iPhone has a Do Not Disturb feature, while your consciousness lacks one. Looking to improve your social skills? Consider joining our YouTube membership for early access to scripts, input on future topics, and engagement with a community that understands social challenges. Click Join below, and together we can enhance our interpersonal skills. Chapter 6. Emotional Granularity. Your emotions are not simply fine or stressed. Emotional granularity serves as your advantage. The ability to accurately pinpoint emotions allows for improved responses. It distinguishes between feeling unwell and feeling disappointed about an outcome, while remaining hopeful for the next try. The vocabulary you use to express emotions shapes your emotional reality. Individuals with higher emotional granularity tend to have stronger relationships, reduced anxieties, and increased resilience. Why is that? Because the term stressed is too ambiguous to address effectively. On the other hand, feeling overwhelmed by multiple deadlines is a distinct issue you can tackle. Expand your emotional vocabulary as you would your general vocabulary. Instead of saying angry, you might use frustrated, irritated, exasperated, or indignant. Instead of sad, consider words like disappointed, melancholic, grief-stricken, or wistful. Each term is a useful tool. At this moment, it's like trying to construct a house with only a hammer. What often goes unmentioned is that there are more terms for coffee orders than for emotional conditions. For example, a venti, half-calf, oat milk latte with 2 pumps of vanilla. While for feelings, I'm fine. Chapter 7, Implementation Intentions. This chapter covers implementation intentions, a valuable tactic that psychologists might not emphasize, but it comes at no cost. If-then planning can potentially double your likelihood of success. Not just improve it by 10%, but actually double it. For example, if it's 9 p.m., then I will place my phone in another room. If I start to spiral in my thoughts, then I will practice 2-4-8 breathing. If someone requests an immediate answer, then I will say, let me ponder that. By predetermining your responses, you eliminate decision fatigue and create automatic choices that are better for you. Your mind prefers patterns and is averse to making decisions. Implementation intentions provide the structure you need while eliminating choices you dislike. Think of it as setting keyboard shortcuts for your life. For instance, if I feel anxiety, then I will initiate breathing exercises. The impact lies not in the general planning, but in the details. The phrase, if I feel stressed, is ineffective. However, if I notice my shoulders tightening at my desk, is much more useful. Clear triggers are necessary instead of vague intentions. We have all experienced attempts at this. I will increase my exercise. On weekdays at 7 a.m., I complete 10 push-ups prior to my shower. This is what occurs. Chapter 8 focuses on the testing effect. Schools misunderstand an important point. Testing yourself is 3 times more beneficial than simply rereading. Learning is achieved through retrieval rather than just receiving information. Each time you extract knowledge, you boost the connections in your brain. This principle is also relevant to emotional habits. Instead of merely reading about metacognition, challenge yourself. Consider your current thoughts. Which mental mechanisms are engaged? How heavy is your cognitive load? Recovery of information signifies learning, and the effort to recall is where growth occurs. Integrate small tests into your daily routine. Set random notifications. Ask yourself what tools are available to you at this moment. This is not assignment work. It is about building neural pathways. If you don't test, you are merely sketching roads on a map without constructing them. It's amusing how we evaluate everything: Wi-Fi speed, phone battery, coffee warmth, yet seldom scrutinize our thought processes. We conduct quality checks on our Amazon orders more than we do on our mental habits. Chapter 9 is the integration symphony. Here is an area where everything expands. These methods do not merely add on to one another, they multiply. Combining metacognition, emotional granularity, and implementation intentions does not simply result in a sum of 3. It causes significant transformation. Observe this. You recognize your worsening metacognition. You detect anxiety about your upcoming presentation. This is emotional granularity. You put your if-then strategy into action. If you feel anxious about the presentation, then practice 2-4-8 breathing, plus take 1 preparatory action. In merely 15 seconds, you utilized 3 different techniques. This journey is not about achieving perfection. It is about honing your skills. Each method reinforces the others. Training your attention enhances metacognition. Improved metacognition clarifies emotional patterns. Grasping your emotions refines how you allocate attention. This creates a beneficial cycle. It's akin to compound interest for your mind. What is truly wonderful? These tools operate while you sleep. Your subconscious processes these patterns, turning them into second nature. You are genuinely reshaping your brain. The overthinking that felt like a permanent state is simply outdated wiring, and such wiring is subject to change. Chapter 10 discusses the path ahead.
You are now equipped with insights that education never provided. Your mind's manual. You are not someone who overthinks. You are simply an undertrained thinker who has progressed. Begin with one tool, just one. Focus on mastering the skills of noticing, naming, navigating, practicing if-then planning, or broadening your emotional vocabulary. Avoid attempting to change everything simultaneously, as this could invite the overthinking habit to return. Small adjustments, steady practice, and compounded outcomes will yield results. Keep in mind that thoughts resemble the weather rather than the climate. Your mind accommodates a spam folder. Utilize it.